workshop about embodied connection. And the connection first starts with ourselves. And the first thing we did was a body scan, and to connect more deeply to our body, to become more aware of the present moment of where our body's at, not to change it, but to observe it with kindness, with compassion. And with that, that gives us the tool to now understand our body and what's going on in our body in the present moment. And that's so important for our own body so that we can show up in the dance more fully embodied, and that we know how to take care of ourselves, and then we can better know how to take care of our partner. Because if we listen to ourselves, we actually have a higher level of listening to the other person. So the next part we did was body listening and the constructive rest. We were learning to listen to our bodies, which sometimes if we're going in life, we forget to listen to our bodies. And that our bodies have wisdom, and that wisdom guides us to how to unlock different areas that need attention, and in subtle ways to move and respond in a way to unlock the tension. And with that, we went into constructive rest, and we did that by a guided exercise. We brought our head down, 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 resting, 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 down here. Then we went to the floor. Then we went down. It was a little slower than this, speeding it up. If my legs were out, it's actually better to be up because the lower body limbs are supported by the feet, and the upper body limbs are supported by the hips. And with that, that allows us to rest, having our hands out, taking deep breaths in, deep breaths out. With the exhale, we made a noise, whatever noise feels good. So breathing in, breathing out. It's an example of one noise. We felt what it felt like to be here in rest, constructive rest. So we know how to feel really connected to our body, listening to it. We slowly rolled out of that. We came up. After each exercise, we walked around the room to feel connected to our body, to feel connected to what's going on, what's shifted, what's different, how do we feel now? What is my body telling me now? And it's like the body rest space is like the dental floss for our body, which means it helps loosen up our body. It wakens up more presence in the bodyfulness. We then did a little bit of response moving in that. With authentic moving, just to warm up the body as we moved to find out what we needed to move to release tension. We did again the walking exercise to walk around, to check in where we're at after and how that feels. We then connected to the movement of the joints, and we first connected to the feel. Oh, sorry, I take that back. We did bone tracing next. I forget. Sorry, guys. Tracing the bones. Forgot to write one for that. So we traced the bones from the bottom of our feet all the way up. We did that by sitting down on the ground, and that really had increased our proprioception of our body, feeling our bones and how they move, how they support us while we were in rest. And then we stood up and felt the presence of that. Then we walked around the room and felt that presence, what that felt like to be fully in our body. Then we did the movement of joints. And with that, we connected to each joint. We did that in partners. And the partner with helping was just holding and feeling what it felt like for that joint to move. And that's a lot of what we do to embody presence and connection, is to listen to the other person if you're leading, so that you can allow that body to move how it needs to move. Without forcing, not just without forcing, but really giving space for them to work with what feels good for their body, and following the follower as a leader. And So with that, we connected to the joints. We started with the hand just to test it out, the space between the bones, what that feels like. We then went through each joint, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the elbows, and the wrists. And lastly, not to forget, the neck. And each part, we did that with partners. We switched and to do both sides. And then next, we added the next layer is to feel what it feels like to connect to the fluid in between the space between the bones, which is the fluid in the joint. And the magic of that is we're really connecting to the fluid body. And breathing into that, the other partner took a turn and felt like what it felt like to connect to that fluid in each of the joints. Again, the same joints that we just did. Parts of the body and also the neck. And the magic, what the fluid in the joints is that the more you do it, you increase your fluid, which means you can increase your mobility. You can increase the fluidness in our bodies. And the power of this gives us an embodied connection. There are many, many more layers that we weren't able to make it to today, but that's what we made it through today in this amazing class with these amazing human beings here. And this is going to help us to better be present in our own body, to take care of ourselves on the dance floor, off the dance floor, in life, and also within the dance and the partnership, that we can really more deeply listen to each other. We don't have to rush, and how the importance of coming from this embodied connection and really taking time and care in with each other's bodies to really be present in this embody full way. And that's what we did today. Thanks, everyone.